Larry Kudlow.
And I'm Jim Cramer. It's been traumatized is a good word to describe the Sandler O'Neill Company after 9/11. 83 employees of the investment firm had arrived for work on the 104th floor of the Tower 2 of the World Trade Center that day. Only 17 of them made it out before the second plane struck and the towers collapsed. Among the dead, co-founder Herman Sandler and key partner Chris Quackenbush. That left only one of the three people who had run the firm, senior managing principal Jimmy Dunn III, who was out of the office that morning. While Dunn grieved for his mentor Sandler and his best friend Quackenbush, along with 64 other employees, he immediately set out to rebuild the company. Within 2 months, Sandler O'Neill had returned to profitability. At the same time, it established a foundation to assist the families of those who died. With us now is the architect of the firm's recovery, Jimmy Dunn. Jimmy, we're thrilled to have you here. Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
First, I have to tell you, when I was in the hedge fund business, I did a ton of business with you guys, some deceased, and you were always phenomenal. And I am sure I'm not in the game anymore, but I am sure you guys are just as great. And I hope anybody who's ever doing any bank stock work, as you can tell, Larry, knows that you have to go to Sandler O'Neill.
Absolutely.
On Wall Street, we know of one thing. We know that it's a competitive place. Yep. And we know that if one guy one bank can hurt another bank when everything's good, they'll do it. They'll raid guys, they'll raid clients, whatever. I get, from what I can tell, your story shows that when the chips are down, Wall Street functions far differently, almost to the point, and I hesitate to use this word about Wall Street, altruistically. Could you tell us about the friends and the bankers, rather than dumping on them like we do too often on Kudlow and Cramer, who helped you and made this dream come true?
My pleasure. Wall Street certainly gets its fair share of tough news, but I can tell you, you have a real core group of very decent people that are highly competitive. People like J.P. Morgan did terrific things for us, put us in the deals, helped us. Other firms shared information with us. Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch provided us key information on hiring people. I can't tell you, there was really no one that wasn't willing to do something, and many did more than just talk about it. They really got us to shore. I'll tell you
are there just, I know that this is a day where names were named of the deceased. Are there people, living people, who you want to mention that just stuck with you, were great? Why not? Just, some credit. It's all some credit out there.
All the guys at J.P. Morgan. I mean, John Steiner has helped us so much on the fixed income side. Tommy Tuff at Goldman Sachs.
Tommy Tuff?
Terrific. Tuff has been great.
He's a very competitive guy.
Oh, I know he's competitive. I like competitive guys. Bob Steele, who is the premium at the competitive guy.
More competitive.
He told me that Bobby Castronanga was an adult in America, didn't hire him, and he was right.
No, that's right. So I just find that this is one of those days, Larry, you'll identify with this.
How is John Steinhardt?
He's solid.
I
played golf with him a couple weeks ago and won $20 from him.
I'll bet. Yeah.
And my game is pretty weak,
after
so
you gave him strokes.
He must be working hard.
But you know how it is. This is highly unusual. I mean, these are guys who, on September 10th, these guys would have done anything they could to make sure you weren't part of the deal.
Well, obviously that's the way it was, but this is, as we all know, is an attack on America. It's an attack on a capitalistic system. It was a most horrible things that could have happened, but we will get through this. We are getting through it. I listened to your earlier segment. The economy is going to get through it, and I'm very sad. I'm very focused, but I'm very optimistic about the future.
I think for those of us in business, especially those of us who are middle-aged, we're not out there on the battlefield fighting, but how can we help? We can make business better. We can push the ball down the field each day.
That's right.
And I think that helps the entire story.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk about the future. Your firm is now rising again. You are rising from the ashes. There's no two ways about that, and I'll just throw some numbers out. You tell me if they're right or wrong. According to reports, you've got Sandler O'Neill has 70 new employees.
81.
All right, there you go. First correction. 81 is even better. 65 capital raising funding transactions for various bank clients and others. And the one that got my attention, 15 merger deals valued at $2.7 billion, which is terrific in a slow M&A market.
I think we've done the most mergers so far this year. It'll actually be 16, either later today or tomorrow morning. We'll announce our 16th deal, and the value is actually about $2.3 billion.
We've done a couple on this show, but they usually get repealed. Anyway, tell me, in your view, how you see the business what you're hearing from clients in person or from your sales and trading people. And tell me what's the vision thing now from you for Sandler O'Neill? How do you see it?
Well, first of all, our core clients are middle-sized banks, thrifts, insurance companies, middle market, value stocks, as you would call it. People with real earnings that control their balance sheet, that understand what they're doing, have a client base that they service very well. I think that what we've had interesting is we've seen the middle market banks fare very well, do very well. Their stocks have done very well, where the larger banks have been under a lot of pressure.
Middles are the healthiest, right?
Big time.
Right.
And I think they're going to be, and I think they're going to continue. They're trading at a fuller valuation than they have been for some period of time, but I think it's going to continue, and we're starting to see more and more of it. And I think that what you're really going to see, and I'm not an analyst, so I can't get in, I don't really understand exactly the inner workings at Citibank or JP Morgan, but I can tell you I've bought both stocks recently from how it feels to me, and I feel you're going to even start to see some leadership over the next couple of quarters out of them. I'm real comfortable with financials.
From the trading desk, what kind of investments are these banks looking to make? It's interesting. Banks are buying treasuries. They've got a positive spread on the curves. Not as positive as I'd like to see it, but whatever. They're buying treasuries. What do you hear? Do they want to accumulate equities? Do they want to participate in new mergers? Are they making business loans and home loans and so forth?
Absolutely. Certainly on the merger side, you have to either acquire or look to merge with someone that you want their currency, you want their stock. So we're going to see, I think, more and more deals being done, and 16 to date is sort of indicative of that. I think as far as they're going to try to do things that make sense. They have a positively sloped yield curve. As long as they can make a spread, they're going to do those kinds of things, as long as they're not taking credit risk that's unreasonable.
Are they expanding, Jimmy, deposit-based branches?
Absolutely.
.com branch banking, that kind of thing?
That's kind of gone the way. It's been okay, but not great. They haven't really figured it out. Wells, I guess, does it pretty good, but in balance, people are looking to make strategic acquisitions, to add clients, add deposits, and they're able to do it.
All right, Jimmy, I got to ask this because we want to both do, we're trying to advance the ball business-wise, but I got you here. My town, Summit, New Jersey, was a Sandler O'Neill town, okay? You probably are more in touch with victims, families than anyone else. When you see them, when you talk to them, they want us to stop talking about it. We see them at a soccer game. Should we go on to the next thing? Is it individual? There's some people who really want us to.
Jim, you got to do what your heart feels right. I tell you, the best reaction that I've had from me personally, and I'm not a wife or a mother or father of someone that was lost, but I've gone into caddy yards and they just pat me on the back. Don't say anything, just pat me on the back. That for me has been very comforting, because I've then not have to go into the discourse, the whole thing. There are some families that like to see it. I had yesterday two mothers of guys that worked for me come up, and they wanted to express their support. They wanted to talk about it. I'll talk about it with them. Others don't want to talk about them. I kind of take their cue from them. We're there, and I'm not the only one. We have everybody in our firm is reached out, and I think all the firms, all the companies have tried to do everything they can to help these families.
You started as a caddy, didn't you?
You bet.
That was the whole. And then you met people and you.
It's a good thing to do, boys. Let me tell you.
I always thought that the best way on Wall Street, the best way to get. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Get started as a caddy. I wish I knew the game better.
And if I understand it, as a good caddy and a pretty good golfer, a lot of your future employers overlooked the Notre Dame education. And they decided to take a chance.
No, easy there, big boy. Easy down there. No, let me tell you that I was there with 2-0, and we got a new hero in Tyrone Willingham.
Right.
So we're going places. He's solid too. Let me tell you.
So we're moving forward.
All right,
we're moving
very,
forward,
very much so.
And congratulations.
You're going to keep hiring. You're going to keep
absolutely
Sandler O'Neill. That's your goal.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And we're going to broaden out the base that we do business with. We're doing business with the largest banks in the country. We're doing business with some of the smallest banks in the country.
Right.
We do all types: mortgage finance, fixed income, capital markets. That's our field, and that's where we're going to be.
All right. Yeah, 15. We're here. You got to love this guy, Jimmy Dunn. He's rebuilding it. Really.
You guys have been great.
One of your traders said that, from the ashes, and we love you.
Well, you were at Larry, but just so you know, I mean, Larry was at the Memorial. Larry's always had close ties with your firm. I was just a client. But you guys always treated me good.
I've known Herman 30 years. Bless his soul. Rest in peace. Our many thanks to Jimmy Dunn. Up next, he investigated the